Some say Jacob Zuma was removed for corruption, while others say it was because he wanted to liberate the people of South Africa. Which is it?
When I was at some point given an opportunity to be the president of this country, because I was beginning to implement what I fought for, what I took decision to die for. Once I started, I was criticized.
Some even put allegations of corruption under your tenure.
Exactly.
So when he was beginning to implement what he joined the ANC for, he was criticized. Interesting. The interviewer says some even put allegations of corruption under your tenure, and he says exactly. Jacob Zuma would like us all to believe that he was removed because he was starting to implement the things that he joined the ANC for. So what were those things that he joined the ANC for? Fortunately for us, in the same interview a few minutes earlier, he tells us what those things are.
I was very young, just 17, when I joined. The reason why I did so, because the ANC is an organization that was established to liberate the people of this country.
He says the reason why he joined was because the ANC was established to liberate the people of this country. So liberation was why he joined. He also claims that the pursuit of the same liberation was why he was removed from the ANC. My issue with that is that ANC took over power in 1994. He was removed from the ANC in 2018. Black people could vote since 1994. Black people could open up businesses, any business they want, since 1994. Black people could be president since 1994. They could vote in parliament and create laws. They controlled the treasury and the military. They decided how much to pay each other, and they chose which wars to fight. Since 1994, black people have been the ones in charge of the police and all spheres of this country. Mandela was elected. So was Mbeki and Zuma too. But they were not as smart as Jacob Zuma, because when Zuma came, that is when liberation was finally coming. Basically, from 1994 until Zuma's second term, black people were not liberated. Throughout his first term, still black people were not liberated. When Zuma gets accused of crimes for the millionth time, that is when he was actually in the process of liberating us. Anyone who is not biased can tell that these are lies. Why do I say these are lies? Well, let's start here. So he joined because the ANC was established for the liberation of black people. It is obvious that the mission was achieved when the ANC won power over everything in 1994 using democracy. Mandela won, Mbeki won, and Zuma won. Anyone who says otherwise is a liar. Now, what is liberation? The action of setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, or oppression. Who among us can say we are not free? We are free to vote IFP, EFF, DA, and we exercise that freedom. We are free to steal, and when you steal, that gives the state the right to arrest and sentence you. We are free to learn skills. Some of us choose to and some of us don't. And I know that someone who loves being a victim will say not every one of us has the freedom to learn skills because some among us do not have the finances to enroll into institutions of higher learning. And to you I ask, who said skills are limited to those who go to university? Whatever happened to enrolling for free courses? What happened to volunteering at a company near you? Asking that neighbor who is a chef, mechanic, or accountant to show you how they do things? You are free to improve your life, but a victim mindset is the one that is really oppressing and imprisoning you. Your victim mindset makes you the perfect candidate for these politicians and activists whose only message is, you are oppressed and I am here to save you. People like Jacob Zuma.
And not a single one has ever produced even a stick of match that I stole anywhere.
Earlier today, Zondo said the testimonies before him on Zuma are no longer allegations but evidence. He was responding to a letter from Zuma's lawyers. Zuma has indicated that he will once again not attend the inquiry. This is in defiance of the Constitutional Court ruling for him to attend.
Where evidence has already been given, it's really more than allegations, it's evidence. It's evidence now. It's been given under oath, and some of those witnesses have subjected themselves to questioning on their evidence. So it's evidence that has been placed before the court, so it's before the commission, not the court. It's no longer just mere allegations that are made in the streets.
Jacob Zuma is a cat with too many lives. He claims that there is no evidence of the fact that he stole anything. He claims that all the evidence was cooked. Well, let's list a few. Jacob Zuma was found to be corrupt in his relationship with Schabir Shaik, who actually went to jail and served a sentence for the crimes of fraud and corruption. This guy went to jail for what he did for Zuma, but Zuma himself did not go to jail. Why? That's like imprisoning a person selling drugs on the street, but not the drug lord himself. Was the evidence cooked? There was evidence of the crimes, but the ANC was protecting him. Jacob Zuma paid back money that had been used on his Nkandla property. More than 200 million was spent, but we all can see that the money spent versus the house in that compound, well, something is off. Something is off there, but in essence, Jacob Zuma has the Nkandla house right now. Is that all cooked too? That is evidence of the crimes of Jacob Zuma, and still the ANC protected him.
But his then political home, the ANC, went on a push in defense of its then leader. At the time, Zuma was haunted by the security upgrades at his homestead in Nkandla, which amounted to hundreds of millions of rands. Amongst the upgrades was a swimming pool that cost an arm and a leg, which was referred to as a fire pool. ANC members defended the construction, saying it was necessary in case of a fire.
In defense of our president, we went to Parliament and opened an ad hoc committee and said a swimming pool is a fire pool. Yabona swimming pool leyo data. Sayichincha sathi fire pool. Uminister of Police ebile khophe engaselanga tywala ubona ukuthi lento ubugqoki kunzima explain ubugqoki kaloku. People have lost their careers because of that thing. Yaye constitutional court yathi si vote in two weeks time wabuya umkhwem get judgment enjani. Wabetha upresident wethu wathi he's not fit for office samnyamezela.
He claims that nobody can say this is what Zuma did. The public protector Thuli Madonsela told us that Nkandla was built with our tax money, and you, Zuma, apologized. So you know exactly what you did.
On the findings that he violated the Constitution,
I also respect the finding that failure to comply with remedial action taken against me by the public protector is inconsistent with the Constitution of the Republic. I wish to emphasize that I never knowingly or deliberately set out to violate the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the Republic.
the president said many lessons have been learned.
The judgment has helped me and my colleagues to reflect deeply on the entire matter. With hindsight, there are many matters that could have been handled differently and which should never have been allowed to drag on this long, which we deeply regret. The matter has caused a lot of frustration and confusion, for which I apologize on my behalf and on behalf of government.
VBS collapsed because of poor people's monies being given to people like you, Zuma. Did you pay back the money? You failed to pay back that loan as you did on the majority of loans you have gotten.
The Pietermaritzburg High Court has ordered that VBS Mutual Bank can seize former President Jacob Zuma's assets to repay a loan worth 6.5 million rand.
Most importantly is a cozy relationship that you, Jacob Zuma, enjoyed with the Gupta family. Under Jacob Zuma, corruption thrived in South Africa. How are we in 2025 believing him when he tells us that things were cooked? How are we supporting his claims that nobody can say this is what Zuma did? How, guys? The Guptas, through their connection to Jacob Zuma, managed to loot state money, billions upon billions. The Guptas gained access to the Waterkloof Air Force Base illegally. Why? Because of being Zuma's friends.
Head Themba Maseko has revealed to the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture that on the day which he was scheduled to meet AJ Gupta, he received a call from former President Jacob Zuma requesting him to help the Gupta family with their media project. Maseko just wrapped up his testimony at the Commission in Parktown in Johannesburg. He says President Zuma called him from his official residence in Pretoria. He says Zuma asked him to meet with the Guptas.
So the date of the meeting with Mr. Ajay Gupta was set. I got into my car and literally as I was driving out of the building, my mobile phone rang and I could immediately identify the number because I had regular dealings with the President's office in the house in Mahlamadlovu. The person on the other end of the line was a lady, I did not take her name. She told me that the President wanted to speak to me. And I said, okay, that's fine. She put me through, or put him through to me. When the President came online, we exchanged pleasantries, greetings, etc. And then the President proceeded to say the following in isiZulu. Mfoka baba. Kuna la madoda kwa Gupta ngifuna ukuthi uhlane nabo futhi ubancede. And to those who are not very fluent in Zulu, I've translated as follows. My brother, there are these Gupta guys who need to meet you and who need your help. Please do help them.
The Guptas appointed ministers very illegally. Why? Because they were Zuma's buddies.
I received a call from Mr. Ajay Gupta, where he actually congratulated me before I was even appointed as a minister. To the best of my recollection, he gave me a call. It was, I think, in the evening. I was at a friend's place, and then he congratulated me, and then he said, congratulations, Minister of Sports and Recreation. I took that matter and to the National Executive Committee to share part of my experience, to say to the NEC that this thing of the Guptas and them interfering and so on, calling ministers and so on, it is a big problem. One day this thing will land us in a big crisis. And I said that to me, these people enjoy the powers that even not ordinary members of the ANC enjoy.
How was your concern received by the NEC?
I think many people, they were bowing, looking down, and you could hear the drop of, when I raised the issue, a drop of rain or whatever in the meeting. It became quiet. People were shrinking in their chairs, and others came after to give me a pat in the back. Hey, you're brave, man. And it ended there. One NEC member rose and said things in that meeting, which I can't speak on his behalf, but rubbishing what I said.
Zuma thinks that we are children who have to produce an email he sent to the Gupta saying, please go steal some money from Treasury, and then when you're done, transfer the money into my bank account.
And his butting heads with then SAA chairwoman Dudu Myeni over the state airlines' finances preceded his downfall.
I've decided to remove Mr. Nhlanhla Nene as Minister of Finance.
Therefore, let me state the facts on the matter of whether I was approached by non-governmental individuals in respect of the position of Minister of Finance. Members of the Gupta family offered me the position of Minister of Finance to replace the then Minister Nene. I rejected this out of hand. The basis of my rejection of their offer is that it makes a mockery of our hard-earned democracy, the trust of our people, and no one apart from the President of the Republic appoints ministers.
Your children, those children who are acting like you're an angel right now, lived lavish lives. Why? Because the Guptas gave them high-ranking jobs even though they didn't earn them. How did they get the jobs? Simply through saying, I am a Zuma. Zuma is my father. Driving around in supercars and enjoying holidays in foreign countries. But today, it was all cooked, ne?
Mr. Tony Gupta is a business partner of mine.
Yes,
yes. And he's also a very dear and close friend.
Well, I was about to check that because I seem to have read somewhere that out of the Gupta brothers, he was the one that was quite close to you.
That's correct. The reason I'm pointing that out is because I spent a lot of time with him on a daily basis.
And in regard to him, we can say he was particularly close to you.
More than particularly close to you.
Okay.
That's my guy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's your guy.
Dear South African, I know that many of you hate Cyril Ramaphosa, and because Ramaphosa and Zuma seem to be enemies, you are employing the idea that my enemy's enemy is my friend. You therefore choose to support Zuma, no questions asked. But hang on a minute. Supporting someone does not mean turning a blind eye to their corruption and eating up everything that comes out of their mouth without pausing a second to interrogate it. Back to Mr. Zuma. We are liberated, sir. Thank you for your service. We were liberated in 1994. Apartheid is over. The oppression we suffer now is because of you and the ANC. You and the Comrades are the poison that chokes this country. The ANC you so desperately wish to return to had the power to elevate the living standards of South Africans from 1994. But you guys failed to do anything meaningful about the land issues. That's not white people's fault. It is your fault, you and the ANC. Eskom, Transnet, SAA and many other companies struggle today not because of apartheid.
But the proof is pretty damning. 2 successive public enterprises ministers appointed known Gupta associates to state institutions that the family did business with. In late 2010, Gupta business partner Iqbal Sharma was appointed to the Transnet board by Malusi Gigaba. Sharma would go on to controversially chair Transnet's board tender committee. And in 2011, Gigaba appointed another Gupta friend, Brian Malefi, to lead Transnet. In 2012, Rajesh Naitani made it onto the board of SAA. At the same time, Gupta Leaks emails revealed he was corresponding with the family. Time and time again, Gigaba deflecting this as nothing more than a coincidence.
Mark Pamensky has resigned from the board of the parastatal. Pamensky's resignation follows that of Eskom CEO Brian Molefe, who announced his resignation on Friday. Pamensky, who is also a director of telecoms company Blue Label and Gupta-owned Oak Bay Resources, was among those subpoenaed by former public protector Thuli Madonsela for the state of capture report. The resignation is another blow to the board following Molefe's announcement last week after the revelations of the state capture report. It found that Eskom's board was improperly appointed and did not conform to ethical standards, as the directors or their immediate family members have multiple relationships with the Gupta family.
Eskom's former secretary and head of legal, Suzanne Daniels, concluded her testimony yesterday. Daniels revealed shocking details of how the power utility was captured by the Gupta brothers and their associates. She detailed several meetings that she had with Gupta business associate Salim Essa and her former boss, former Eskom acting CEO, Matsela Koko. Daniels and Koko said Koko introduced her to the Gupta associate and told the commission that Essa offered her 800 million rand if she reinstated Koko in the position. Daniels also believes that the Guptas thought they were running the country.
One of the shocking statements, but then the next one he said was, when this matter would be easier to deal with when Nkosazana Zuma comes into power. And it was at that moment that I realized that whatever skepticism I had had about the Gupta family, the influence on the country issues, this was it.
It is because of you and the ANC that you want to come out and sound like you're the hero of the nation. If we need any liberation, it is liberation from you and the comrades.
I have even gone to prison when I've never even appeared before a magistrate, let alone the judge. I served.
This lie again. I think the idea is if I tell this lie enough times, people will forget what the truth was and repeat the lie as a fact. Well, let us set the record straight yet again. You went to prison for being in contempt of court. Simple.
We start here. The state capture inquiry will apply to the Constitutional Court to have Jacob Zuma charged with contempt of court. The commission also says it will apply for a prison term to be imposed on Zuma instead of a fine if he is found to be in contempt. Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has slammed Zuma's action of defying the court order to appear before the commission.
The commission has taken note that in this type of situation, the law makes provision that it may apply for it may institute what is called contempt of court proceedings. The Commission will do so. What that entails is that the Commission will make an application to the Constitutional Court, which is the court that made the order that Mr. Zuma has defied, and seek an order that Mr. Zuma is guilty of contempt of court.
You were given an opportunity to clear your name and you refused to be questioned. Everyone is required to respect the judges. What's so special about you? If you break the law, should you be left alone? No, you had to go to jail, sir, because you actually did appear before a judge. You appeared and left without getting the permission of the judge. You're not a king of this land. The laws are there to keep scoundrels like you in check, otherwise the country becomes ungovernable, similar to what is happening now.
Never before has the authority and legitimacy of the Constitutional Court been subjected to the kinds of attacks that Mr. Zuma has elected to launch against it and its members. Never before has the judicial process been so threatened. The Constitutional Court holds that there can be no doubt that Mr. Zuma is in contempt of court. To his peril, Mr. Zuma has not presented any evidence to establish a reasonable doubt as to whether his disobedience of the order was willful and mala fide. And the extent to which Mr. Zuma has attempted to justify his defiance through public statements is of no relevance. The statements were not formally pleaded, so fall to be disregarded. The Constitutional Court can do nothing but conclude that Mr. Zuma is guilty of the crime of contempt of court. Mr. Zuma is no ordinary litigant. He is the former President of the Republic of South Africa, who continues to wield significant political influence and in whom lies a great deal of power to incite others to similarly defy court orders. His actions and any consequences or lack thereof are being closely observed by the public. So if his conduct is met with impunity, he will do significant damage to the rule of law. The Constitutional Court holds that it is disturbing that he, who twice saw allegiance to the Republic, its laws and the Constitution, has sought to ignore, undermine, and in many ways destroy the rule of law altogether. Mr. Zuma's conduct has undoubtedly set an example to the public. So let this court order follow suit. Let it be known that she or he who abandons all ethical standards in pursuit of a cause does so at their peril and must prepare to meet the award of punitive cost that naturally follows. It is declared that Mr. Jacob Zuma is guilty of the crime of contempt of court for failure to comply with the order made by this court in Secretary of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture, corruption and fraud in the public sector, including organs of state, versus Jacob Zuma. Mr. Jacob Zuma is sentenced to undergo 15 months imprisonment.
Today, the lawmakers and the lawkeepers are not doing their jobs of locking up and firing scoundrels. All lawbreakers belong in jail. Nkandla alone should have gotten you fired. But hey, ANC comrades look out for each other, don't they?
It was all cooked. So I don't want to get into that one. I'm just telling you why I'm moving.
Who cooked it?
Those who are in power.
You are a political figure that has sources all around the country. You would have insight and some intelligence as to who cooked it.
I'm saying it was cooked by those who are in charge. I don't want to be counting names of people, how many. That's not the issue for me. They know themselves, and those who are helping them.
Who cooked it? Those who were in power. Who was in power? The same people who protected you when you built Nkandla with our money. Those ones. The same people who protected you throughout your many offenses. All of them suddenly cooked it. When they defended you against all the other cases. Why now? Please, sir, please stop treating us like babies who are suffering from amnesia. Just stop it. Anyway, that's it for today. I'd highly appreciate it if you liked and shared the video, subscribed to the channel and our membership, and visited our website to get your Citizen Concerned or Beware of the Comrades t-shirt. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the Comrades.